Hey everyone, this is Amber Key, and you're listening to a Bright Idea podcast, a show that sits down with entrepreneurs to hear about the aha moments that launched their businesses. On this week's show, we're joined by Chanel Person, a cosmetic chemist and founder of Marie Methods. Marie Methods is a cosmetics research and development laboratory located in Maryland. It provides formulation and development services for indie beauty brands. The areas of formulation and development include hair care, skincare, and makeup. The services provided by Marie Methods gives up-and-coming beauty entrepreneurs access to affordable product formulation along with the appropriate product testing. Chanel has a Bachelor of Science degree in chemistry from Hampton University and a Master of Business and Science degree in personal care science from Rutgers University. In addition to her education, Chanel is also involved in the cosmetic science community. She currently serves on the executive board of the Mid-Atlantic Chapter Society of Cosmetic Chemists. She stays up to date on both scientific development and marketing industry trends to assist in the creation of successful beauty products. Chanel enjoys working with clients and turning their ideas into products that customers will love.
I was one of those probably like nerdy kind of kids who wanted like a science kit for Christmas. That was like a big deal for me. But I knew like I was very interested in science. I kind of did a down selection of like all the subjects that I would be most interested in, and I landed on that one. And then when I was in high school, I started getting into makeup a little bit. I was doing makeup kind of just like for fun. And then it wasn't until like I went to purchase makeup like at an actual counter that I was like, there has to be some kind of like formulation development space here in order for people to create these products. So I started doing a search from there.
Was that in high school that you discovered that?
Yes, it was. It wasn't until high school.
Okay. How old were you when you started wearing makeup?
Um, I'd probably say some like midpoint in high school, I started wearing makeup. I mean, of course, you'll do like a lip balm or like a lip gloss, like maybe when you're younger, but it wasn't until like high school that I was doing like full on like full face makeup.
Yeah, I only asked the question because my mom was really into, first of all, growing up, like I'm sure you can probably talk to me about like your childhood, but my mom had like all the products. Like she had all the potions, all the products. Like we had like basically a Sally's beauty supply in this house. And I remember in like second grade, my mom was really into MAC. Like MAC was her favorite product. That's what she wore all the time. And she had this beautiful MAC red lipstick that I like took in the second grade and I wore to school. And my second grade teacher called my mom and was like, she's wearing makeup to school. And my mom's like, okay, but is she getting good grades? So right. Yeah, that's it. Like, so I was just wondering, like, you said that you were kind of the nerdy kid into science, but were you like also like a girly kid, or were you like what were you like? And how would your parents describe you?
I was definitely like a girly kid. I wore like lip gloss and I probably tried like eyeshadow, like trying to get away with something when I was younger, but it didn't really work out. So yeah, I was definitely like a girly girl, but as I got older, I started to kind of like get more into it, like you mentioned the MAC counter. So like you would go and get your face done and get like $50 worth of products. So I went and did that like all the time. And so that's kind of like how I started getting interested in it, especially like, like the foundation shades. Like that was like the main brand that a lot of like people would go to try to do like the foundation matching at the counter. But I really struggled with finding the right match for myself. And so I was constantly like mixing foundation shades together. That didn't really work out. So I was like, there has to be a way that like this can be more inclusive. And of course, as time went on, then Fenty Beauty came out and they became a lot more of an inclusive brand in terms of like foundation shades.
Yeah. So you had this discovery in high school. You decided to go to school for the sciences, chemistry specifically.
Yep.
Okay. What made you choose Hampton?
So I did what they have is called a pre-college program. So I wasn't, sure that I wanted to go to Hampton in the beginning. I'm from like the DMV area. So I was like, oh, I could just go to a nearby school, but I went to their pre-college program. I stayed overnight throughout the summer, took classes, and I really liked it. And I think that was like the selling point for me. And I did pre-college 2 years in a row. So I did it before I graduated high school and then after graduating high school. And that kind of like sold me on going there.
What was their chemistry program like? And did they have was it like specific classes that you could take that would get you to becoming a cosmetic scientist?
Yeah, so I will say, like, when I was in undergrad, there wasn't a lot of cosmetic science focused programs that I was aware of at the time.
Mhm.
So I definitely did like the traditional chemistry route. Well, I will say I started as a biochemistry major, and I realized very quickly that biology was not my strong suit. So I switched over to just the full traditional chemistry major. And so I took organic chemistry, I took physical chemistry, all those things, inorganic chemistry. And so those classes, I think, really, helped in the long run in terms of understanding like the background in chemistry and stuff like that. But I will say it wasn't until I did my master's program that I got into classes specifically for cosmetic science.
Was your goal after graduation to like work for one of the big like cosmetic companies like L'Oreal or Maybelline, or did you always have hopes of becoming an entrepreneur and doing your own thing?
Yeah, so I will say starting out, like that was my goal. I feel like that's everyone's goal is to like go work for L'Oreal or Estee Lauder or something like that. But I think it was just like God's timing in terms of like how everything worked out. So I had an internship right after I graduated college. And so I know most people try to land like their first full-time job after they graduated college, but I landed an internship which led into a full-time job, which then paid for my master's education. And so as I was getting my master's degree, people would reach out to me and say, hey, I know you're studying cosmetic science. Like, I want to start this hair care line. Would you be able to help me with that? And so I was really wanting to wait until I finished school, but I was like, you know what? Let's just try it out, work on small projects and see how that goes.
What do you think was sort of the aha moment that you decided that you were going to launch Marie Methods?
Um, I think when I saw that people were interested in developing their own products and like people who, didn't necessarily have a huge company or brand already. So like smaller um indie brands or, people just they see a gap in the market or a product that they wish was out there and they're like, hey, maybe I can get somebody to create this. So once I
Mm.
saw that people were interested in that, I definitely thought that that was a space that I could be in.
I wanted to share some statistics that I actually found on your Instagram page that I think would be helpful for listeners to know. But so I noticed that the global beauty and personal care industry is worth $564 billion with a B, which is insane. So personal care is the leading segment, followed by skincare, cosmetics, and fragrance. And the industry is expected to grow by 4.7% between now and 2026, I believe. Was there a need in the beauty industry that you were trying to solve? Like, what did you see that was the need?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that generally speaking, cosmetic formulation and custom cosmetic formulation can be quite expensive. And so I think it discourages or puts up a boundary for like regular people to, start these indie beauty brands.
Mm.
Um, and so and on a smaller scale. So like once you have your cosmetic developed and you want to get it out there, you may only want to start with like 100 products and not 100,000 products.
Mhm.
So I think that just providing affordable formulation and like providing payment options for people to kind of get their products off the ground, I think was kind of like what drove me into wanting to start the company.
You mentioned that people were coming up, like it's hard to come up with customized products. What do you define as customized?
Yeah. So basically, like for instance, if a client comes to me and says, hey, I want a formulation that does this, I want it to have this texture and I want it to be, opaque or something like that, or transparent, whatever the case may be. So then I will, formulate a product specific to what they're describing with ingredients specific to like the need that they're trying to address. So you have custom product formulation and then you also have private label. So private label is like there's predefined formulations that companies will make, and then you can put your label on, a product that's already made. But with custom formulation, you have a lot more say into what ingredients are going in there, and maybe like what concentrations they're at, um, and the overall texture and feel, and even the scent of it. Because sometimes you may get like bulk private label cosmetics that maybe you don't like the scent of it, and that just throws off the entire thing. So you have a lot more leeway and flexibility with the custom formulation.
While you're talking about custom formulation, it kind of, and you're speaking about like customers that want like a certain texture or a certain scent or something. Who are like your customers?
Yeah, so they're typically either, just people wanting to start their own skincare, hair care line, or they're professionals like hairstylists or nail professionals who've been working in their profession for a long time, doing hair, doing nails, but they want to come out with their own product line so that they can use that on their clients while they're performing the service.
Oh, I love that. So, can you kind of take me through like the day to day of your job?
Yes, I will say, like, as a cosmetic chemist, running a like cosmetic research and development lab, there's a lot of different hats that I wear. So, you have the initial client meeting. So, like, giving them a background on timeline, budget, all those types of things. And then, so after that, then I'll go into like the research phase. So, whenever I have a new client, I'll start researching ingredients, putting together a formulation, and then I go through the formulation part. So with each custom formulation, the clients will get samples to test out the product. So that way they can see like, is this going to do what I wanted to do before I, start selling it?
Mm.
So we'll go through samples. I'll make samples for each of the clients, send it to them. They'll provide me some feedback, and then I go back and reformulate based on their feedback. So if they're like, hey, I don't really like this scent, can we change it up? Or, hey, I don't really like this texture, or, I don't like the way that this feels once I apply it, or whatever the case may be. I'll reformulate until we get to a product that they are really happy with. And then so after that, then it can move into like small batch production. So if they're starting out and they want to, sell 50 products at a time, then I'll start the small batch production for them. So that's kind of like what a typical day will look like for me, researching ingredients, putting together formulas, and then the formulation phase and the samples.
How many clients are you working with at a time?
Um, it really depends. I will say maybe some like it could be anywhere between like 3 or 5 clients at a time, depending on the product. So some products are a lot quicker to develop, and then some products take a little bit longer to develop. And one thing that I did leave out is the stability testing phase. So, like with all of the products, they go through stability testing to make sure that there's nothing separating out, nothing, no color change, anything weird happening
Wow.
with the product as well.
That's a lot of work. Like that sounds like how many like iterations does this usually take? Like what and you mentioned the timeline, but like what is the true timeline to get like a perfect product?
Yeah, I'll say anywhere between 6 to 12 months.
Okay.
And I say that because the stability testing phase usually takes 3 months, and that's if everything goes well. If there's no separation, nothing crazy going on, then it'll be 3 months. But it also depends on like how long the client may want to test out the sample. So if they want to test it out for a month, then that's an additional month in the formulation phase.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually say 6 to 12 months, depending on the product and how quickly things move.
And so are you also packaging the products for the people for your customers?
Yeah, so if somebody wants to do like small scale batch production, then
Yeah.
I'll package it for them.
What's like the overhead costs for you to like get the like the tubes and the containers and all of these things for the packaging piece?
Yeah, so because I really want to make it affordable for the clients, I typically buy things in bulk or
Okay.
from cosmetic suppliers.
Yeah.
So the packaging itself usually doesn't cost that much.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the other thing, like with a custom formulation, the ingredients usually don't cost that much in compared to like using a formulation base. So like using a formulation base and scaling that up is going to cost a lot more than combining the ingredients yourself and scaling that up just because they're charging for the fact that the base is already put together for you.
Wow. Yeah, that's a perfect segue into some of the ingredients. So first of all, can you talk to me a little bit about the different kinds of product categories that you work with?
Yeah, so I usually do like hair care, and I may start on skincare coming up soon. But most of the people that have reached out to me, it's been hair care, and then I do have a nail um, a nail care client as well.
For like nail polish?
So she does want to get into nail polish soon, but so far I've done just like a cuticle oil for her, and then she's gonna have some other products coming down the pipeline.
That's super exciting. And then how do the ingredients in these products differentiate like skincare versus hair care versus personal care versus makeup?
Yeah. So, depending on the product, like you'll have certain categories, like you'll have emulsifiers. So if you're using something that you're combining a water phase and an oil phase, you'll definitely want to have an emulsifier in there, as well as surfactant systems. So, combining different surfactants to get that cleansing piece,
Mhm.
um, and then your preservative system as well.
I love that. So you're not, just to like let the listeners know, you're not only developing the product and the formulation, but you're also helping businesses and their owners with like their marketing and their innovation. So can you take me through how you're helping business owners to market their products and how important it is to market their products?
Yeah, so I think as a cosmetic science business owner, someone who's developing products for small businesses, I also talk to them, like you said, about marketing. I talk to them about like cosmetic labels, regulations, all those things to make sure that when they put their products on the shelves, that they're compliant with, the FDA cosmetic regulations. So we'll talk about what things should be on your label, your ingredient list, how to structure your ingredient list, the order in which things are placed on there, where different pieces of information are supposed to go on the label. And then like in terms of like marketing, what you can or what you should be able to say in terms of promoting your product. And I think that that piece is very important because once you have the product made, you want to be able to get it out there.
I
So.
think that I love that I'm hearing this from you because I feel like you're like twin minded. Like you have like the science piece of it, the product and the formulation, and then the marketing side, the business side. That's what is going to help grow and scale a business. And I feel like that's a very unique business model to have, not just being a scientist, but also somebody that can like help others grow. What are there any other cosmetic scientists in the area? And sort of like, how do you make your Marie methods stand out from the rest of the competitors or like other people that business owners could go to?
Yeah, so I think there's a few things. So there's definitely, people who formulate cosmetic products in the area. But one thing that we offer, in addition to the formulation, is like you were saying, kind of like consulting for marketing, promotion, um, regulation guidelines, and then also that small batch production piece.
Mm.
So like, once you have your formulation made, you could be in the position of like, how do I get this scaled up? Like if it's a formulation that you're not necessarily comfortable making yourself, you might want to look into like, well, who can, manufacture this product? And so a lot of times these contract manufacturers may have like a minimum of 5,000 units that you have to purchase. And so
Mhm.
if you're not in the position to like sell 5,000 units, then you kind of need to find some place that can scale that back a bit. So that's the portion that we offer at Marine Methods as well.
That's so cool. And then is it just you or do you have any help?
Yes, it is just me for right now. I would like to move into like, bringing in some more people just so things can flow, smoothly. But it is just me for right now. And so at least with the small batch production, that's something that like is within my bandwidth. But like if I get a client that wants, thousands of units, but isn't ready to go to like a full contract, um, large scale contract manufacturer, then I may bring in some other people to help out with that.
Awesome.
I want to pivot to some statistics that I found about the Black beauty consumers. And I think that this is a really important conversation after watching the Black Beauty Effect documentary on Netflix. Everyone should watch it. But it was a study by McKinsey Institute for Black Economic Mobility, and it said that Black Americans spend about $6.6 billion on beauty and represent 11% of the total US beauty market. While Black Americans, especially Black women, spend a lot of money on beauty products, for a long time, we struggled to find the products for us, including hair care, makeup, and skincare. So now with scientists like you, there's an opportunity for us to create products for us by us. How do you think that you are empowering personal care owners that they can create their own products?
Yeah, so I think that when there's Black business owners that want to put out their own products, that's definitely like a space that is constantly growing, and that it's a space that's constantly being recognized. And I will say, like, as a cosmetic chemist, and I go to these different cosmetic science conferences, the more I go to them, the more I start to see people that look like me, and the more I start to notice them emphasizing indie beauty brands
Mm.
and Black owned beauty brands. And so some of these conferences will actually have a specific segment for indie beauty brands to promote their products, to talk about their ideas and all those things behind their products. So I think it's definitely a space that's constantly growing.
Mm.
And as a cosmetic chemist, working one-on-one with these business owners, I can really help to bring their vision and their ideas to life in an actual product. And so I think that one of the biggest things in terms of like developing products for these small businesses is that they get to test it out. They get to tell me, this shade doesn't, match, or, I wanted to, to have more, to have more shades in this line. So I think that, being able to work with these businesses one-on-one definitely provides some custom formulation and areas for innovation as well.
Walk me through like a consultation with a customer.
Yeah. So typically, I'll talk to them about, like, what is their product idea? How did they come up with this product? Is it something that they're experiencing themselves? They know someone that might be experiencing something like hyperpigmentation, or, wanting a moisturizing cream or something like that. Um, and so I'll talk to them about how they came up with the idea, their target audience, and then I'll kind of go through the timeline. So I'll explain to them, we'll start with our consultation. We'll then go to development, testing, samples, all of those things. And throughout the whole process, me and that client are going to have like regularly scheduled meetings. So,
Mhm.
like, I'll be able to talk to them and say, hey, this is how things are going. This is the ingredient list that I have. Is there anything, that you want to add or change about this specific ingredient list for their product? And then from there, we'll talk about budget. We'll talk about ways for them to get to the product completion phase.
What do you expect them to know, like, and have already set up before they start working with you? Like, do you have anybody that comes with like just an idea? Like, I just want to make a product for hyperpigmentation, but they have done nothing, none of the like back end work, or like what? Yeah, like take me through that.
Yeah, I think the main thing that I would maybe suggest is that they do a little bit of market research in terms of the product that they want to create. So just seeing what products are out there, whether that's online or walking through the store and kind of just checking out what products are on the shelves, looking at price point, looking at the way that they're marketing these products. And so kind of just having an idea of what already exists, and then how we can, create something that's innovative and that's different from what's already out there. But other than that, I would say that's the main thing, because that's why you hire a cosmetic chemist to do
Yeah.
all of the back end work.
I love that. And so we're going to pivot because I want to like nerd out a bit. And I don't know the answers to any of these questions. So I'm excited to talk to you about these, but I want to talk about the ingredients and formulation. So, how do you go about selecting and formulating ingredients for cosmetic products?
Yeah. So depending on the product, you'll, want to make sure that you have all of your cosmetic ingredient types. So like you'll want to make sure you have the surfactants. So you're looking into what surfactants you want. If they're low foaming, high foaming, you want to look into your emulsifiers to see if that emulsifier is going to work with your formulation. And then you'll also have, your preservatives that you're looking into. So to make sure that the preservative is going to be effective for your formulation. And so one thing that is really important when developing cosmetics is to check the pH. So some, formulations or some preservatives, are really effective at a specific pH. And if you're developing cosmetic products, you want to make sure the product is at the appropriate pH so that way it is stable as a stable preservative system and is good to apply on the skin.
Okay, so if the product does not have if the pH is thrown off, that could cause like breakouts or like inflammatory like issues, or what could
Yeah.
happen?
So if the product is not at the right pH, your preservative system could just be ineffective or not work as well. And in that case, your product could be exposed to growth of like bacteria, yeast, and mold. So you want to avoid all of those things. And so that's why it's important when developing to just check the pH of the product afterwards. And just a common, I guess, like something that's often confused is that, you definitely want to have a preservative when you have a product that has water. But if you also have a product that like someone is constantly sticking their hands into or something like that, you may also want to consider a preservative for that as well.
Oh, that's so good to know. Are there any breakthrough ingredients or formulations that have recently caught your eye?
I will say, I think the one size, what was that? The makeup spray. I think that is a product that's really caught my eye recently. I think it's gotten a lot of publicity in terms of like helping your makeup to stay on throughout the day because it creates a film when you're applying your setting spray.
Okay. Okay, yeah, talk to me a little bit about that, because actually when I was like preparing for this interview, like so I do you subscribe to like the Ipsy bags at all?
I haven't.
Okay, so I subscribe. I get like new samples like each month, but I have like the Poor Professional like Super Setter by Benefit. And I
Hmm.
love this thing, but I'm like, isn't it just water? But it's not. Like, so how does it, like, what's in it, and how does it make your makeup like stay so long?
Yeah, so I think that there's a few things, like in terms of like makeup sprays, like there's sprays that like refresh your makeup. So like provide that like dewy look that you're looking for. And then there's like actual setting sprays to help your makeup to stay in place. And that can be done with like a polymer, some sort of like film forming polymer that's within the formulation.
How do cosmetic scientists ensure the safety of their products?
Yes. So there's definitely a lot of testing that goes into developing cosmetic products. The first one that I mentioned before is the stability testing. So you'll want to make sure that nothing's separating, there's no color change going on, and that it's in the appropriate packaging. So if you have light sensitive ingredients that are going to degrade over time, you definitely want to put it in a UV coated or, amber container. The other testing is preservative efficacy testing. So you want to make sure that there's no growth of bacteria, yeast, or mold in your products. Um, and so with the preservative efficacy testing, they will introduce common household, contaminants or bacteria into your product to see if your preservative system will hold up over time. And so that I think is important, because if you're using a shampoo that like the shower water may somehow get in there, or if you're
Mhm.
using a hair mask in the shower and you're, dipping your hands into it and there's water, from the shower and all of that, just making sure that it has a preservative system. So when you open it the next time, there's not, mold or anything growing into the product.
Can you explain the role of regulations in the cosmetic industry and like how they impact product development?
Yeah. So the FDA has cosmetic regulations and guidelines. And so all of that stuff is online on their website. But definitely when you're developing products, you're going to want to follow the good manufacturing practices.
Mm.
So making sure that your area is clean, making sure that you have appropriate storage for things, that, stuff isn't inappropriately stored on the floor or anything like that. And making sure you're going through, the proper cleaning process when creating your products and making sure that you're getting ingredients from reputable vendors as well.
Do you like with Marie methods, like have you come across any challenges in your business, and like how do you overcome them?
Yeah, so I think there's always formulation challenges. For example, you're creating a product that hasn't been created before. You're using a formulation that's completely unique. So there's bound to be challenges during the
Mm.
development process. And so I think that just allowing enough time to kind of go through those iterations of formulations is really important in the overall product development phase. And as a scientist, that's one of the things that interested me the most about this field is that it's not always a straightforward answer. Like if you're creating something brand new or you're formulating something new, you're not going to always have the answer right away. So kind of just being able to go through those steps and get to the end formulation that does work. But having those challenges along the way, I think is what interested me the most about the field.
Can you give us like an example of an innovation or a new product that you've seen that a customer has come to you about?
Um, so let me think. So I know like I've had a customer or a client come to me about like a hair mask. I also know that I've had a client come to me about like a shampoo that goes from like a looking like a oil to actual shampoo formulation.
Oh wow.
Um, when somebody came to me with that idea, I hadn't heard of it at that point. But, kind of like as time goes on, I've seen a few products that are like similar to that idea. Like it looks, like a golden color, looks like an oil, but when you apply it to your scalp and your hair, it foams. And so I think
Wow.
that, never give up on your ideas. You never know like what can come of that.
That's super interesting. How does the industry address concerns related to like sustainability and the environmental impact?
Yeah. So I think that there's always companies like cosmetic packaging companies or ingredient companies that are looking for sustainability solutions. So there's definitely a lot of like ongoing innovation and research along packaging lines. So like
Mm-hmm.
things that are biodegradable, things that are not just single use and you throw them away. Um, so I think there's a lot of research going into that area, and the key is to just know that those things are available, to know that those packaging options are available. And then from an ingredient supplier standpoint, coming up with sustainable ingredients to then sell to, clients or um, cosmetic formulators or cosmetic chemists to then incorporate in their formulations to help make their products sustainable.
Yeah. Do you have a particular project that you've seen as like a favorite that you've worked on?
I don't have a favorite necessarily. I really enjoyed making one product that was the hair mask.
Mm.
It was a challenging project, but I think that, getting to that final formulation that, was stable, there was no separation, it had a great scent that the client loved. I think that that was a project that I really enjoyed working on for sure.
So you was this a small batch um product line?
Mhm.
Okay. And then is this particular client like selling on a like a website, or is it like in stores or
Yeah, so she hasn't started selling yet. I've developed it, and so I think she's, maybe working on getting it out there. But
Mhm.
I that, for a lot of times people may underestimate the amount of time that it takes from, a developing to launching a product.
Yeah.
So I want to say that she's still in that, phase of getting things out there.
I feel like in just having this conversation with you, like you are such a key role in these customers' businesses, because like if you create a product that, somebody had this idea and they came to you with this idea, they did the market research, it hasn't really been done it before, it's something innovative and it works and people love it, then they continue to come back to you to fulfill the orders, right? Like then you are the cosmetic scientist of this particular brand. Is that sort of how it works? Like, do you have repeat clients?
Yeah, for sure. So if I develop a product and, they're ready to sell and they're like, hey, I need to place this order, then I can, fulfill the order. And then once they sell that, they may come back and say, hey, I need another order. And we
Yeah.
can kind of set up a schedule from there. So yeah, that's definitely how it works. And then, some clients, once they get into something like a Target or a Sephora, then I'll then communicate with the contract manufacturer to kind of make sure they can scale up the formulation for them.
Okay, so are you the person, so you're the cosmetic scientist, like working with indie brands, like while they're still small, will they, if they decide to grow and scale, then they would work with like a manufacturing company, so like a bigger company that could build this product in bulk?
Correct.
And
Yep.
then would you then send them the formula and then they create it in their space?
Yes, that's correct.
Wow. Okay. So, wow, this is so cool. So let's say for this particular client who has this hair mask, like you are also working with several clients at a time. Um, do you kind of have like your own sample of this formula built? So when they come back to you and they're like, I need more of this, I need like 50 more batches of this like product, then you already have a formulation like ready to go for them? Like how does that work?
Yeah. So once I create, so I always keep a lab notebook. So like
Okay.
every iteration, have detailed notes on the formulation, the procedure, the ingredients, the supplier of the ingredients, because that can make a difference as well. And then so if they say, hey, sample B, is the one that I really liked. And so I'll go back and see, well, what was sample B? And so when they come back again to fulfill an order, then I can just reference that, get the same supplier, the same ingredients, and follow the same procedure as well.
You have such a cool job. Okay, this is that is so cool. So, um, what like what's some advice that you have for someone looking to get into cosmetic science?
Yeah, I'd say so for one, there's so many job opportunities within the cosmetic science industry that I didn't even know existed. So I say definitely do some research, see like, do you want to do formulation? Do you want to do testing? Do you want to do, marketing, anything like that within the cosmetics industry? But in terms of cosmetic science specifically, you can go to school, get a bachelor's degree in a science related field. And then from there, I would encourage to do like a master's or a PhD program in cosmetic science specifically, because they'll have the courses that are, specific to cosmetic formulations.
Mhm.
I think that's the piece that you may not necessarily get in undergrad, but in the master's program or PhD program, you'll have the opportunity to do that. And you'll get to network with other people in the industry as well. So I was in classes with people who worked at L'Oreal, Revlon, all these things. And they were like, some of them were around the same age as me. So I think that, just getting that exposure and that experience definitely helps to grow your network in that area.
When you decided that you wanted to be a cosmetic scientist, did you have anyone in your family who was in the sciences or anyone that you looked up to in the industry that kind of paved the way? Because like I I mean, maybe because I wasn't around it, but like I didn't even know like a cosmetic scientist specifically like existed.
Mhm. Yeah, neither did I. I did not have anybody in my family that was in science. Um, and so I didn't know that cosmetic science was a field or an area that people could go into. I didn't even know that there were schools that had programs for this. So I will say I did do some research to see, like, once I figured out cosmetic science was a field, I did some research on like jobs, professionals in this industry. And I came across a Black lady who worked for L'Oreal, and I want to say she was developing mascaras. And so she was kind of like the person that I was like, okay, I can see myself in this field. There's, opportunity here. So I think that just, seeing her story, that was definitely a turning point for me as well.
How much money could like somebody have the potential to make in this industry?
Millions of dollars. I think that there's tons of opportunity in this space, from somebody having their own product line and selling products to someone selling a formulation service. I think that there's definitely, enough room in the industry for new people to come into it. And I know that when I was first starting out, a lot of business owners would ask me like, "Hey, I want to create this hair care line, but like, it feels like it's so saturated with all of these companies and all of these products that are claiming to do like these great things." And so I would always tell them, definitely follow through with your ideas. The industry is not saturated. There's always room for new and innovative products in the industry.
How can someone stay up to date on the latest developments and breakthroughs in cosmetic science?
Yeah, I would say to look at cosmetic science research journals. Those they are very science based, but I think, you can get an overview of like what people are working on at the bench. When I say at the bench, at like the laboratory bench.
Mm.
And so that kind of gives you an idea of what's going on before it gets to like a trend, or what bloggers are talking about or people are talking about on social media.
Okay, so is Marie Methods taking new clients?
Yes, we are currently taking new clients.
How can people work with you?
Yeah, so you can reach out to me on my website. It's www.mariemethods.com. And then it has a consultation tab there, and you can schedule a meeting with me and you can kind of go from there.
And where can people find you on social media?
Yes, and my Instagram is at Marie Methods.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Before I let you go, though, I want to play a rapid fire if you would be willing. This is the fun part. Okay. All right. So, when should you begin a skincare regimen to ward off aging?
Um, as soon as possible. I think that you start early enough, you will have less to worry about in the end.
What are like some good products to use to stop that?
So there's definitely lots of anti-aging products out there, things for like eyes, skincare creams. So just, I don't know, finding the right product for you, not a specific brand necessarily, but like, the product that works the best for your skin.
I want to mention, because this was also in the documentary, but in the Black community, we always say Black don't crack. And so sometimes we don't think that we need to wear sunscreen or we need to use some of these anti-aging creams that we see other demographics are using. Do you believe in that myth?
No, we absolutely need to wear sunscreen. And a lot of people will say to wear sunscreen every day. So definitely wear your sunscreen. And one thing that I like is, now there's more moisturizers that have SPF in them. So you can get a 2-for-1, not have to think about it, and just, apply in the morning and be done with it.
I love that. What's your favorite skincare myth that needs to be debunked?
Hmm. Let me think about that one. Hmm. Well, I will say, for natural ingredients, preservative free, I am totally against that. I think that, definitely want to make sure that your products have the appropriate preservative system, because it's not worth creating a preservative free product that's going to then, cause breakouts because the preservative system isn't active.
Why do people want to buy preservative free products?
I will say just because they think that it's more natural. And so, like, because we are going through this like natural product era, um, just, using the cleanest ingredients, less ingredients in the product, I think that people are kind of, some people are hesitant about preservatives, but making sure that, it's at the appropriate concentration, everything will be fine.
So a lot of people are also into like vegan ingredients. Does vegan ingredients mean preservative free?
No, I think that there's definitely some preservatives that can still be incorporated into vegan free or vegan products.
Have you worked with any vegan products?
I've worked with natural products, so to speak, and then, just, yeah, I have worked with people wanting to create vegan products as well. Yes.
Because I know that's a big thing right now.
Mhm.
Bold lip or natural look?
I'm more of a natural look person. Occasionally, I might do a bold look, but that doesn't last for very long. So,
Favorite skincare trend right now?
let me think. I don't know that I have a favorite skincare trend right now. Hmm.
That's
Uh,
okay. What is your morning skincare routine in 3 words? Go.
so facial cleanser, toner, moisturizer.
Favorite skincare ingredient and why?
I like glycerin a lot. I like the feel of glycerin. And I think that I can definitely, sometimes tell when there's products that have glycerin in it just from applying it to the skin.
What is glycerin?
Glycerin is a humectant. So that's something that, helps provide that, like, helps retain hydration in the skin.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so favorite part of the product development process?
Um, I think the sample part. I like sending out samples to clients and getting their feedback on them.
Hmm. What's the most important product that we should be using right now?
Um, hmm. I'm gonna say sunscreen or an SPF product because I think that now that we're out of summer, I think that a lot of people are doing away with their SPF products, and I think it's important to kind of like keep that going.
Hmm. What's your favorite beauty line?
I really like Fenty Beauty. I know everybody probably says that, but like that is the cosmetic brand that I buy my foundation from. So
I mean, she has a good product, so that's why everyone talks about it. What's a cosmetic product that you can't live without?
um hmm. I'm gonna say just like a daily face moisturizer. Like I always have to have that and a lip gloss.
Okay. Wait, so would you say you're like more of a makeup girl or a skincare girl?
I think more of a makeup girl, but like
Okay.
natural makeup. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, this was so much fun. Like, thank you so much for coming on the show. I had so much fun and I learned so much. But yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Chanel. That's it for this week's episode of A Bright Idea. Tune in each week as we interview entrepreneurs to find out the aha moments that launched their businesses. Today's episode featured Chanel Person, founder of Marie Methods. You can support Marie Methods by going to their website at mariemethods.com or following them on social media at Marie Methods. We're building a community of support here on A Bright Idea, so follow Marie Methods on social media, give a review, and tell all of your friends. Until next week, I'm Amber Key.